Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Come on in the building, come on in the room. I want everybody to come in and come and join me today as we do what? Roar in our greatness. And so, if you are ready to roar in your greatness, drop in the comments roar. R-O-A-R. Roar. That's what we're doing. Because it's still Leo season, baby. And I am a true Leo. And so, hello, my Resilience Beyond Measure family. I am the one and the only Miss Lady V. I am your favorite spiritual release coach. And I am truly grateful to be here with you today as we do what? Roar in our greatness. And so I just want to ask you this one simple question today. And I want you to really think about it. I want you to don't just answer right away, but I want you to sit with it. I want you to process it. Because so many times, this is what we do. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, who am I? Who am I? And it's not because you forgot your name, but it's because life started to happen. Trauma started to happen. Grief happened to you. Sickness, oh my goodness, happened. Betrayal from family, friends, loved ones, spouses, it happened. Disappointment, losing jobs, children not doing what they supposed to do, just life just not being what you want it to be. All these things started to happen and you start questioning, who am I? See, resilience, because this is the Resilient Beyond Measure family, resilient isn't built when life is easy. Resilience is actually forged in the fire. And baby, let me tell you something. If you think that Lady V ain't been through the fire, oh honey, are you so wrong? Because I have been through the fire and back so many times, okay? And that's how the R.O.A.R method came. Because I've been in that fire. I've asked myself so many times, who am I? Who am I? Am I what people say that I am? Am I what people claim that I am? Who am I? See, a lot of people think that I just sat at a desk and one day said, you know what? I'm gonna create this little catchy little phrase and acronym, and baby, I'm gonna put it out there and the world gonna see it and they gonna love it. No, that is definitely not what happened. I actually had to live it. Every single letter, every lesson, every breakthrough, it was born from the darkest seasons of my life. And the R.O.A.R method isn't just about something that I teach, but it's the map that God used to bring me back to me. It's always been me versus me. And I had to understand that. And so allow me in these next few minutes to show you, teach you, and guide you through the R.O.A.R method. How you can start to roar in your greatness, because that's what I want to see you do. I, Lady V, want to see you roar in your greatness. But let me show you how I did it. Let me share my story with you today. so that you will understand that it's not about survival. It's about being able to come through. It's about being able to say, I no longer live in my trauma. Because healed people heal people. And that's what we're going to do today. I want to show you how to heal and how to roar in your greatness. And let me tell you, before I could become Lady V, I definitely had to do this first R. And that is to release. I had to release the version of Tavana that believed every single lie that life had told me. And I know for me, I know what it's like to carry trauma, to carry rejection, to carry abuse, to carry shame, to carry the labels that people place on you when God never intended for me to wear any of those. But I started to believe those lies. I started to believe those limited beliefs. I started to believe those that foolishness, and I started to carry it with me like it and wear it like it was a badge of honor. But here's what I learned. The heaviest thing that you'll ever carry, it isn't your past, but it's the story that keeps telling you about your past. And for years, let me tell you, for years, I actually believed that I had to survive. I believed that, you know, I had to do these things or I wouldn't make it. But one thing I didn't realize is that God had called me to thrive, not just survive. And then there came another battle. After this childhood trauma of being molested, of being broken, of being hurt, of being denied, of being rejected. Then in 2009, I was diagnosed with lupus. And of course, when you hear lupus, you're like, oh, wow. Yes. It's an autoimmune disease that nobody knows really anything about it. They don't know how to treat it, but they pretend as if they do, and they don't. And I almost died 4 or 5 different times. And so now I'm an advocate because I have to teach others how to survive with this autoimmune disease that nobody knows how to cure. And a lot of times when people hear it, some people would have accepted the diagnosis at the end of their story, and I can't lie, I almost did. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna make it. But then God asked me one question, and that question was, will your diagnosis define who you are, or will it develop who you are? And have you ever heard and sat with something that you heard from God and you said, oh, what? Like, that's a strong question. Will your diagnosis define you or develop you? And I had to really decide what it was going to do. I had a choice at that point. And it was to either release the bitterness or to keep carrying it. It was to release the fear or just to keep feeding it. It was to release the victimhood or to become victorious. But the first step of R.O.A.R is not pretending that my past didn't happen. It's actually refusing to let it dictate my future. I refuse to let it say this is what my future was going to look like. No, I was determined that I was not going to live like that, because one thing that I know is that every breakthrough begins with the release. Every breakthrough begins with release. And sometimes God can't continue to pour something into new into us if our hands are still full from yesterday's. If we still holding like this, how are we supposed to receive our newness? How are we supposed to receive our new blessings? We can't. It's time to open your hands, which means that you got to release some things. You have to let some things go. And if you're ready to release, drop it in the comments. Say release. I am releasing it today. I am releasing what no longer serves me. I am releasing it. That's what we're doing today. So drop release in the comments, y'all. Drop release in the comments if you are ready to release it. Because I know that I am. And I know that I was. And so that was what I had to do. I had to release. And and then once you release, now you can start to overcome the obstacles that's standing in your way. But let me tell you, that was one of the hardest chapters of my life. Just one, okay? One of the hardest chapters of my life. And in 2019, I lost my business partner, my best friend. I lost my sister, Jazz, to a rare disease. And that was my sister in purpose. Like, we created EMP together. We created Elliot Knight Professionals together, because we knew that stories would change lives. Just like that's why Jackie do what she do, because she know that the stories will change somebody else's life. See, Jazz loved musicians, I love the writers, and together we dreamed of helping people tell their stories through art, through the beauty of the art. And then one day I felt like I just woke up and she was gone. Now, there are some losses that really can change you forever. And I feel like her and my grandmother, those were two losses that really could make me just be like, because my grandmother's death, I literally almost lost my whole entire mind. I literally was out of there. And Jazz's loss was definitely the same way. You know, grief will convince us to quit. It whispers, you can't do this alone. And I felt like I can't, but purpose shouted louder to me and said that every obstacle in my life taught me one thing. That lupus taught me endurance. Loss taught me faith. Homelessness, it taught me gratitude. Rejection taught me confidence. Failure, it taught me wisdom. See, obstacles didn't stop me. They just trained me. They trained me to be a better me. And that's why this second step isn't about avoiding the obstacles that stand in your way. It's about overcoming them. Because mountains, see, mountains aren't there to stop you. They're there to show you how strong that you can become when you're climbing them. And so it's time to climb those mountains. And if you're ready to climb the mountains, drop overcome in the comments. Because now you are ready to awaken the rebel that's within inside who you are. And that's what happened to me, because one day I realized something. I realized that I wasn't just rebuilding a business. I was actually rebuilding who I am. I was rebuilding me. That question, who am I? And that's when God showed me something very powerful. That there's a version of ourselves that trauma introduces, and there's another version that healing actually will reveal. And healing introduced me to Lady V. Not the woman who was broken, but the woman who could build broken people. Not the woman who lost everything, but the woman who could help others find who they really are. That's when the rebel inside of me woke up and was like, hey, girl, I'm here, baby. What you want to do? See, I was not being rebellious against authority anymore. I was being rebellious against fear. I was being rebellious against the silence that people told me that I had to do. I was rebellious against those limitations that people said I could never amount to. I was a rebellious about silencing my voice and the voice that told me that I would never recover, that I would never amount to anything. See, the rebel inside me, well, as you see, she decided that if I survive this, I'm taking somebody else with me, baby. I'm taking somebody else with me if I survive this. And that's why I coach. That's why I write. That's why I speak. That's why I publish. That's why I advocate for others because I understand, as you heard me say earlier, healed people heal people. And now, baby, it's time to rise into your purpose. It's time to rise into your excellence and ask yourself, what exactly do you do? See, my answer is simple. I am the queen of helping others find their voice that life tried to silence. See, I don't just help people write books. I help people rewrite beliefs, those limited beliefs. I don't just build authors, I build legacies. Because I know this. Some people will never step inside a church, but they'll read your story. Some people will never ever hear a sermon, but they'll hear your testimony. And that's why EMP exists. Because stories saves lives. My story will save your life. Your story will save somebody else's life. And that's why the R.O.A.R method was created. Because transformation, it deserves a roadmap. Every book I publish, every stage that I stand on, sit on, every coaching session that I do, every single conference that I attend is an invitation for someone else to roar in their greatness. See, people see the woman sitting here today. You see my confidence. You may see my purpose. You may even see my success. But what you don't always see is the woman who cried so many nights when nobody was watching. Was the woman who actually was wondering if she would even make it. If anybody even wanted to hear my story. The woman who fought through all the pain. The woman who buried dreams and said that I can't do this. But only to discover that there was a planet, God had planted a different seed. And that's why I can stand here right today and tell you this with confidence. The R.O.A.R method never came from a classroom, but it came from the battlefield of life. It was born through tears, so many of them. It was refined through fire. It was strengthened through my faith. And it was proven through my perseverance and my resilience. So if you ever wonder what your next step is, let me leave you with this. When life tells you to quit, release the lies and replace it with the truth. When pain tries to stop you from being the greatest you, tell it, I don't think so. I'm going to overcome the obstacles that's standing in my way. And when fear tells you to stay small, Baby, I want you to awaken the greatness that's inside of you like nobody's business. What they say, like a roaring lion. And then let it know, baby. And when you survived what should have destroyed you, don't just survive. I want to be your favorite spiritual release coach. And I'm not standing here because life was easy, because life be lifing. But I'm standing here because every single chapter of my life just taught me how to roar my greatness. And now I want to help you do the same. I want to see you do the same. I want to see you roar in your greatness. Because when one person roar, generations all around the world find their voice too. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you and how I learned how to roar in my greatness. And today I want to see you roar in your greatness. It's time to release the old narratives and the old baggage. It's time to overcome the obstacles standing in your way. It's time to awaken the rebel within. And it's time to rise to your destiny. Leave your legacy today. It's your story that somebody else's need. Don't wait till tomorrow because tomorrow may not come. Do it today. Stop waiting and do what you're supposed to do right now. It's time to roar in your greatness. I'm Lady V. Y'all be blessed. And until next time, continue to roar in your greatness. See you later.